Okay, this video is how to use some advanced skills in taking a PDF that is blank and turning it into an editable PDF using Adobe Acrobat Pro. We'll assume at this point that you've watched the basic video of how to edit a PDF, and we'll just get started and get moving. If you haven't watched that basic video, you should watch that before we get too much further into this one. But we're going to use the wizard to basically tell the Adobe Acrobat to create editable fields wherever it feels they belong. And you can see that it's added some fields, but you don't quite see them. You don't know where they're at. Here are some on this graph, and this kind of makes no sense. So I can tell you right now, as a teacher, I would probably say this box defined undefined _3, I'm just going to highlight it, make it blue, and I'm going to hit the delete key and get rid of it. This number 4, I don't want this one or this one or this one or this B. You can also go over here and you can, if you know where they are, like undefined 9, I'll just select it and delete it. Using the navigation bar over here on the left, get rid of 10. Draw a diagram to show. That may be hard to do with a PDF file, but this text box is actually probably okay. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to get rid of some. Let me show you how to add a few things in case you wanted to add something to the file that the wizard didn't do. This day 1 question right here is multiple choice, but there's really no way to create a circle A on this editable document. But if we use this navigation button up here called Add New Field, I can add a checkbox by dragging it right next to this question, this answer to this question, or I can actually put it over the A, but I'm going to put it right next to the answer here, and I'm just going to call it Day 1A. I'm going to click off of it, and it created that little box. I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. This would be what a student would actually check if they wanted to answer B. I'll click off of it into a blank space on the PDF, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the preview. If a student received this file basically by opening it up in the classroom and they were supposed to do this question and they wanted to answer B, all they would do is select that little checkbox and B is their answer, and the teacher would easily be able to know that that's correct. In this question itself, you have to actually not only select the answer but justify each response. So we're going to now go back to the edit, and we need to actually add a text box in here so kids can justify their response. Up here in the Add New Field, there's the option to add a text box, and it will appear as you drag your mouse into this box, and you can make it as big or as small as you'd like. Kids can type for days in here if that's what you feel is appropriate, or you can make it pretty small. I'm going to show you another property of text boxes, and you can click on any of these and do this, but I'm going to take this text 6 box, put my cursor inside it, and double click, and it brings up this text field properties box. The first general tab is the name of the box, and we're just going to call this justify. I can type. If you go over to the appearance, you can change the actual font that will type in there or the color. You can change the alignment. You can limit the amount of actual characters they put in. So if you don't want them to go on for days, you can make this 25 characters, and that's the limit of their answer. You can make it do a whole bunch of things with this format. You can actually change it so they can only enter numbers or decimal place. Validate is something that's used for a more advanced topic we're not going to cover right now, and you can actually create a code to calculate certain things. But as far as adding text boxes, it's as easy as going up to the Add New Field and adding a text box. And we can go down here to this one and justify this response. So we'll call this justify day 2. Now you may wonder why I'm naming these specific ways, and that's because as we put them into the page, the PDF on this side, it adds them to this outline on the left. The outline on the left, as you saw in the basic video, allows the student to tab from one thing to the next as you go down this list. So from justify, they're going to be able to tab to the day 1 or the day 1A or the day 1B, and then to justify day 2. Just in case you wanted to add something a little bit more exciting, you could add a radio button, a list box, a combo box. Those are actually pretty complicated. You could add an OK button or a signature if you wanted your students to sign it. The radio button is just like the checkbox you just added to the page. Name it. The button value could be yes or no, but I'll show you what this looks like in the preview. If you had another radio button, it would go off after you select it. Again, like in the basic video, once you get done with all of your adding and adjusting and modifying, your next step would be to clear any of the adjustments you made, make sure it's correct, and then you would close the form editing and then save it under File, Save As, to your own personal computer. As a teacher, you can then distribute it.